Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and today I am doing a Manga Monday recommendations video. Today that I am filming is actually Monday. Normally I pre-film these and then post them on Monday. Hopefully I will be able to film this and get it up, but you know, if you're worried about it not being Monday when this goes up, at least know that it was Monday when I filmed it. So it is a Manga Monday recommendations video. Today I am talking about Extraterrestrials in manga, manga that deals with aliens of some respect. I decided to choose this as a category just because, for one, I think aliens actually appear, or, you know, like extraterrestrial beings appear in a wide variety of genres and demographics. And, you know, personally, I don't read a lot of science fiction. I think that's where we kind of generally are drawn to, or we think of when we're thinking of alien beings. But there's actually a lot in a lot of different places, and I am putting off having science fiction as a category for a while, or space as a category for a while, just because it's not something that I read very often, and I want to have some time to actually read some things so that I can actually recommend you some things. I've read a little bit, of course, but I would like to read a little bit more before I actually get to that particular category. So at this point we're going to talk about just extraterrestrial life, beings from other planets in manga, and I have a handful of recommendations. Like I'm saying though, for science fiction I haven't read a lot. Well, I have read quite a few, but it's been quite a while since I've read a lot of these, and there were quite a few titles that were on my TBR for the last 2 weeks since the last Manga Mondays recommendation video that I wanted to read for this one, but I've been sick with a cold as well as some other things and just haven't had a chance to film, as well as I just haven't been reading a whole lot. So unfortunately I'm not going to recommend, or I am going to show you some of the titles that I was planning on reading, just because maybe it'll give you some chance to see some other titles that have aliens in them that I probably are going to be good. I at least anticipate that they'll be good, or I've read a little bit of them enough to say I think these will be good, but not enough to like fully back and recommend them to you. But maybe you want just a list of some titles. And then I'm just going to recommend a handful of titles that I have read that I enjoy. They aren't necessarily all 5-star reads, but they're all fun titles, and really just anything fun is worth reading in my opinion. So I'm just going to get into it and show you some manga with some extraterrestrials. The first three are just going to be the ones that I had on my TBR for the last 2 weeks and have unfortunately not been able to get to yet. Of course, I have Voices of a Distant Star on my TBR. It is sitting next to my bed normally, and it's just ready to be read, and I really would like to read it. It just hasn't happened yet. This is by Makoto Shinkai, art by Mizu Sahara. Makoto Shinkai is fairly well known, especially right now, for his anime films. And this is a reprint, republishing of Voices of a Distant Star. It used to be published by Tokyo Pop, and Vertical has picked it up. It is a one-shot manga. I haven't read the manga, but I have seen the anime many years ago, probably close to 20 years ago I saw the anime, and I do remember some of it, not a lot, but I remember being emotionally affected by it. I remember there being some aspect of space travel and a young girl having to go into space, and something to do with the time distance, and as she kind of goes further into space and gets distant, physically distant from the people on Earth, they all, of course, Earth is rapidly aging, and so she's not aging, and also becomes distant in time. That is all I remember of this. I have looked it up, and apparently there is some sort of an alien influence in this title, but I suspect that this is going to be a good title, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. Another title that I would like to read, also on my TBR, also sitting waiting to be read in the last 2 weeks and also not being read, is All You Need Is Kill. This is a story by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, storyboards by Ryosuke Takeuchi, and art by Takeshi Obata, who of course is from the Death Note fame. So the illustration, of course, is going to be quite beautiful. I have I haven't actually heard too much about this title, whether or not it's good, but it is based off of a novel. It is inspiration, or at least the novel itself was inspiration for an American film. So I think that it probably has some strength. I believe that this is a story about some sort of alien invasion of sorts, and a particular man is caught in sort of a loop cycle where he's constantly being reborn and then training to defeat whatever is invading or whatever issue the Earth is having, and keeps dying and then of course coming back to life. I believe that's what this is about. It sounds really interesting, and because it is self-contained, shouldn't be a really difficult read. And I'm definitely looking forward to reading it at some point. And then the last title that was on my TBR that I would recommend, and this one I have actually read bits and pieces of because they're primarily short stories, or at least it's a very episodic series, and that is Lum, or Urusei Yatsura. I only have Return of Lum in these digest formats from Viz. This is very out of print, so of course it's going to be quite hard to find. I find these occasionally when I'm lucky at different sales and things, and I pick them up whenever I do see them because they are really fun. I haven't read all of the ones that I own though, so I can't like fully 100% say you should go out and check these out, but it is by the author of Ranma Half, Rumiko Takahashi. She also is the author of Inuyasha and Mermaid Saga and some other things, Meisani Koku, and some One Pound Gospel. Okay, I can't even, there's quite a handful of titles that she is well known for. This one is a very eccentric comedy about an alien, Lum, who is this main character here. She normally is wearing kind of like a bumblebee outfit, or at least some, like a yellow and black outfit, and she has little horns you can see, a little bit more like an oni or demon. But she is an alien who is living on Earth and has fallen in love with a human boy and is just causing problems. It is just a romping good time, and it is just a lot of fun. So certainly if you see any of these titles anywhere, you should definitely check it out. So the rest are of course titles that I have read. I'm going to start with Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaki. This is a story about alien invasion of parasitic creatures. These parasites have fallen to Earth and are, they invade the body, and like a parasite they live in the host, which is a human body, but they take over the host's brain, and so it's not quite symbiotic in that the human basically dies, their body is still alive, but the alien form has now taken over their body. This is a story in particular about one alien or parasite who has invaded one man's body, and he ends up entering the body through the hand and is prevented from reaching the brain before it matures, and so it actually just resides in this man's arm. It's quite humorous. It's also really dark and grotesque, but it is just a really enjoyable, good horror story, and I would highly recommend that you check this one out if you get a chance. I'm pretty sure this one's in print, as well as I know that this one is available on different digital platforms legally, so you should definitely check this out if you have a chance. It's a great series. The next title that I'm recommending to you is maybe not, I would say, the best title, but it's incredibly nostalgic to me, and it's such a weird title that I would recommend checking it out if you have a chance. It's only 2 volumes, but it is out of print, so if you see it somewhere, like, pick it up really cheap. Don't pay more than cover price. Absolutely, this is not good enough for that, but it is a fun read if you can find it somewhere. That is Brigadoon by Nozomi Watase. This is a very nostalgic story for me, just because it is something that I had seen through anime first, and it's just so strange. It is basically the story about an alien invasion. It's about a ship that appears over the Earth, I think like every 100 years or so, and then there is alien contact with this, I believe she's about 12 years old, girl. Here's the alien, and he is coming down to protect her from something. I don't remember the exact scenario because I think she is somehow involved, or she has, some spirit or something that they're looking for to destroy or capture or whatever, and But it is this just like very strange series of these very strange aliens, which are sort of like, they almost look like half robotic. They're very sleek, and then their arms are like weaponry, so they're either like swords or guns. And then on top of it, it's about a 12-year-old girl who ends up having a like small romance with the character. It's super weird. But it's just like really entertaining, and it just shows kind of how strange and fun manga can be. And since it's only 2 volumes, I thought I would recommend it. The next title I'm going to recommend is a shoujo manga that is Meteor Prints by Mecha Tanaka. I love Mecha Tanaka. I will always buy everything that is translated by Mecha Tanaka. She's one of my absolute favorites. So when I have a chance to recommend her, I will. This isn't a series for everyone, but it is definitely a series for me. It is a slightly younger demographic shoujo manga. It features Mecha Tanaka's style, so not only her art style, but also her storytelling style. It is basically the story about an alien boy who has come to Earth, kind of following the signal of his perfect couple, his perfect match. And when he gets to Earth, he meets this girl who he believes is his perfect match, and immediately propositions her to become his mate, or to mate with him. Like all of Mecha Tanaka's titles, the characters are very naive, and the relationship is very innocent. So even though he propositions her, and it is really her kind of being too shy and embarrassed and inexperienced to really appreciate what he is asking for her, and she says, you know, no, this isn't how I want a relationship to go. You're being too forward. You know, you have to put brakes on. I will only consider you after we have a proper relationship. And so he tries to act like a regular human and actually develop real feelings and a real relationship with her. It's only 2 volumes long. It's super cute. I don't have too much to say about Mecha Tanaka. Most of the stories that she writes are quite fluffy. They aren't really deep or anything like that, but I just really find them delightful, and they always put me in a good mood. And the last series that I'm going to talk about is one that has to be on the list, and you will completely understand why when I show you, and that is Dragon Ball Z by Akira Toriyama. Now, I'm recommending Dragon Ball Z instead of Dragon Ball because Dragon Ball itself is really more of an adventure comedy, where young Goku, who is sort of the epitome of the Chinese folk lore of the Monkey King, and Bulma, who is a human girl, are searching for the Dragon Balls to, you know, gain some wishes. In Dragon Ball Z, Goku and all of the people that they've met have grown up, and it has turned more into a battle fantasy. In this battle fantasy, because Goku becomes so strong, he gains a lot of backstory, as well as travels to, or has enemies travel from, various planets, and so there does get to be a wide range of alien beings in this series, as well as discovering that Goku is maybe not the folk lore that he originally was, but is actually a race of super alien beings called the Saiyans. So this is just a really delightful series. It is a lot of fun. I personally prefer Dragon Ball just because of the comedy aspect, and Dragon Ball Z is more into the battle fantasy, which is a little bit less my favorite, but I love these characters. I love the world that Akira Toriyama has created, and if you haven't read Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, and you are watching my channel because you read manga, I urge you to go and read this immediately. It is absolutely a necessity. But read it in order. Read Dragon Ball first, then get into Dragon Ball Z. It is a wonderful, wonderful series. If you have any recommendations for titles where there are aliens or alien presence or extraterrestrials of some sort in them, I would love to know about them or hear about them. And certainly anybody who's watching this will like to read them in the comments, so please do comment below and recommend some titles. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.